Hey, how's everyone doing in the Galactic Family Podcast world today? We have got a great show for you today. In this special extended episode, I'm going to be joined by my co-host, George.
Hello.
And we are going to be going over rather than chasing hype or sensational claims, we're going to take a more grounded, chronological look at how 2025 became a turning point by whistleblower testimony, congressional action, and scientific inquiry, media normalization, and growing public demand for accountability. Now, together, we're going to explore how secrecy and disclosure collide across government, science, media, and culture, and what this is, and what this movement reveals about how information evolves under pressure in the modern world. All right, let's go here, and we're going to take it off right away because we have got it going on today. So first, we're going to be getting into the Baltic Sea anomaly.
2011, the Ocean X team, renowned for their daring underwater explorations, unveiled a discovery that would ignite global fascination. The Baltic Sea anomaly is a perplexing enigma, nestled at a depth of 300 feet in the Baltic Sea between Sweden and Finland, immediately defied conventional explanation. Featuring a circular, disc-shaped formation adorned with straight lines and right angles, the anomaly has become the focal point of fervent interest and wild speculation. While some scientists cautiously suggest natural geological origins, others are captivated by the possibility of a more exotic explanation, ranging from sunken ancient civilizations to extraterrestrial technology. As intrepid investigations including sonar mapping and physical sampling unfold, reports of electronic equipment interference near the anomaly have only deepened the mystery. Despite the challenges posed by the treacherous underwater conditions, the quest for answers continues, with the tantalizing enigma of the Baltic Sea anomaly standing as one of modern exploration's most...
Yeah. Baltic Sea anomaly.
Yeah. What's your view on it? What do you think?
Going from what the actual guy said, what he said was, and we can go right off of this because let's see here. Hold on. I got it right here. Let me pull it up here. So going right off of what Dennis says, okay, and he's the one who does the sonar mapping in that area for Ocean X, right?
Dennis Alsberg or Alsberg?
Asperg, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Going from what he says in that area, he's never seen that type of anomaly before anywhere. So if you're gonna go with an expert, I might have to side on his side for right now.
Yeah,
because we don't have enough information on it.
I think it's really an unknown. And the thing is with anything in the water, because it's not humans' natural environment, and we may maybe think of like clear blue water in the Mediterranean, but as soon as you get into different locations, it's murky, it's dark, it's strange. It literally, the waterways are an alien world, so to speak. And I think the thing is, if you look at structures that have been found relatively recently, like I'm thinking the one in Japan, which is, clearly megalithic in size, I mean, huge blocks. But this isn't that. This is a bit unusual. This is a strange one. And obviously, every time anything unusual is found, people like the science community tends to go with what it knows. And so the easiest kind of like bat away is, well, it's just a natural geological formation.
Yeah, exactly. But you have to put more into it to find out,
Yeah. I mean, do you know the Giant's Causeway in Ireland? It's a series of stones that are hexagonal. So it's a natural rock formation, which it looks weird. It looks like something from Superman, Krypton or something, these natural formations of rock. But this isn't that. This is something we haven't seen before. And I watched a video, which was Dennis talking about the strange weather anomalies whenever they went near on the surface of the water to this location, which they're obviously keeping under wraps.
Yeah.
and the GPS goes crazy, the electronics go crazy, the weather anomalies like tornado, water spouts, and it's I think Dennis needs to potentially get more funding to get a submarine down there and have a proper like scout around with drones and really get some close quarter imagery for us as viewers to find out what it is.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I'm gonna also during this episode, you're gonna get a little sneak peek, everyone, on the newest guests that will be coming up in the new year on the podcast, which it's gonna be a great new year, I can tell you that. So first one here I wanted to pull up again. This will be, where'd it go here? Here we go.
So please tell me what's your.
This is Dennis. He is on his way back right now on Ocean X to the anomaly to do the second radar scope in 2025, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
Your thoughts about this
Yeah,
journey?
well, it has been really interesting. It was
That's Dennis talking behind the camera, I should add.
Before, and I'm really looking forward to
This gentleman
see the
speaking
processing
isn't.
data. I think we will know more exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really interesting.
Yeah. Well, have any idea what it can be, or do you don't want to speculate?
No, I
But-
don't want to do that.
No,
Sorry.
you're a little careful with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, lots of people do that, speculating about that. But yeah, we must be a little careful with that. But what we can say, it's something you have not, or you have not seen before.
No,
No.
not in the Baltic.
Not in the. Have you seen it anywhere?
No.
In your dreams, perhaps?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
So he said he probably saw it in his dreams before. Like,
Yeah, I think
that's about it.
Dennis was behind the camera there speaking to the skipper, who's obviously a trained diver and sonar specialist. And all of this equipment costs money and time with no promise that it's going to be anything crazy. So yeah, I think kind of it's one to watch going into 2026 to see how that research takes off. And obviously Dennis's connection to Dr. Beatrice Villarroel, who has done the transient objects study and put the paper down. It feels like certainly in Sweden, it's kicking off a little bit. And what else lurks beneath the oceans, right?
Well, George, I guess the audience will have to subscribe and find out, because that ding, ding, ding is one of our special guests that are coming up in the next year. Dennis is going to be here on the podcast to discuss the Baltic Sea anomaly firsthand, and the sonar and all the scientific studies that he's done so far on it. That's one.
It's going to be cool. Yeah, like Dennis Alsberg joining us here. That's going to be a great interview. I think I've got a lot of questions. I want to know all of the anomalies they've found, everything in a track that's unusual, and what makes it in their mind not a natural formation.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like, and what? Okay, he says he hasn't seen this anywhere else in the world. Where else in the world has he been doing this?
Yeah, and his career generally is I mean, I don't like using the term treasure hunters, but people do fund expeditions to go and find sunken treasure, right?
It's history.
It's yeah. I want to know kind of like, when was it first discovered by him and his team, and how many missions he's had out there, and what the future holds for him as far as kind of really getting an angle on what this is. Obviously, working at depth in water, the Baltic Sea generally is fairly rough at times between Finland and Sweden in that region. I just hope he's got the location secret so no other teams turn up and take over, because I really value Dennis's work, basically. Yeah.
I honestly think with how the wind is going here, I'm going to end up in the Wizard of Oz, but we'll get to that in a minute. Pennsylvania is going through a lot of really wicked wind right now.
No place like home, Toto.
Yeah, I got to click my heels together. So anyway, back to UFOs. So then we've got, out of the blue, we've got David Grush comes out of nowhere and drops a bomb to Congress.
Yeah, that was.
We'll pull up that video here, George, and then we'll comment afterwards.
Mr. Chairman, ranking members and congressmen, thank you. I'm happy to be here. This is an important issue, and I'm grateful for your time. My name is David Charles Grush. I was an intelligence officer for 14 years, both in the U.S. Air Force, both active duty, Air National Guard, and Reserve, at the rank of major, and most recently from 2021 to 2023, at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, NGA, at the GS-15 civilian level, which is the military equivalent of a full bird colonel. I was my agency's
Well, let's pause it here because I see Paul's coming up here in a second.
No problemo.
Then we'll let it go here for a second.
Lead in unidentified anomalous phenomena and transmedium object analysis, as well as reporting to the UAP task force, UAPTF, and eventually, once it was established, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO. I became a whistleblower through a PPD-19 urgent concern filing in May 2022 with the Intelligence Community Inspector General. Following concerning reports from multiple esteemed and credentialed current and former military and intelligence community individuals that the U.S. government is operating with secrecy above congressional oversight with regards to UAPs. My testimony is based on information I've been given by individuals with a long-standing track record of legitimacy and service to this country, many of whom also have shared compelling evidence in the form of photography, official documentation, and classified oral testimony to myself and my various colleagues. I have taken every step I can to corroborate this evidence over a period of 4 years while I was with the UAP task force and do my due diligence on the individual sharing it. This is because of these steps, I believe strongly in the importance of bringing this information before you.
Let's pause there for a second.
So that was 2023, that clip.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first major congressional. So yeah, you need to pause. Is Paul doing okay? Is he able to get in?
I'm trying to get him in now here.
Hello, Paul.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you. We just can't see you yet, but that's okay. We'll figure that one out.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. I had to change browsers, but
Okay.
So, okay, doing now that we're about a little bit in, I'm going to do a little guest introduction for the ones that stuck around, because Paul is joining us today, and Paul needs to be introduced. Here we go. We are joined by
Mr. Paul Ruez.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
No worries. Really happy to have you on the show.
Educator, systems thinker, and science communication specialist.
thank you.
He also does what is it? You did battlefield photography, right?
Yes.
Oof. And right now, rather than chasing hype or sensational claims, we're going to go into it. And you bring, Paul, you bring a systems level perspective. Okay. It's shaped by your work in education and workforce development. And you can help us examine the UAP conversation, not as a belief or a debate, but as like real world study in transparency, governance, and institutional behavior and trust.
Glad to. My pleasure.
All right. Thank you, sir. So let's get it up on like this. And we can now, we went over before, sir. What we went over was we went over the Baltic Sea anomaly. We just covered that. And how Dennis will be joining us on the Galactic Family Podcast next year.
Good. And I heard George talk about the need for funding, and that certainly hits the nail on the head.
Yes, sir. Well, do you have anything to add to that, actually?
Well, other than to call out to the folks that are fortunate enough to have the money, let's step up to the plate, officially or unofficially, and get some money flowing into these projects.
Certainly,
I definitely 100% agree.
100%. Yeah, I think funding sonar equipment, tracking devices, diving rigs, diving equipment, obviously the natural weather climate, it requires a certain amount of outlay. I don't know. And it's one question I want to ask Dennis himself if he comes on, is the fact that, is this treasure trove to him? If it turns out to be a downed old UAP, is it his because he's found it? Or, in that situation, is the Swedish government just going to step in and take away, or maybe the Swedish government need to fund him? Could be an idea.
Yeah, all good, all important points.
I mean, you have to balance the need for the information that has to get out to the public and not overclassify it like they've been doing. There's a lot of stuff out there that I've personally seen that I couldn't talk about now, but that could be out there. There's no reason for it not to be, but they classify it because they don't want, a foreign adversary to know, they know they're up to this level in technology at this year. And then they could kind of figure out how far along they would get. It's a sensitive topic with that.
Yeah, I think like actually that segues quite well into the David Grush video here from 2023, because when you have these, when you have national security front and center, we can't release information because of national security. It's very dismissive. It doesn't really explain why. It doesn't say because if we release this technology, our interests will be disrupted because other nation states might get a jump on us or be more interested. So it just comes under the umbrella of national security, which is very dismissive. Are you aware of a gentleman called Greenwald off the Black Vault? He does a large amount of freedom of information access requests on all levels of the DO. Is it Department of War now or Department of Defense? I'm not quite sure. Is it
Department of War?
Yeah. Okay. So DOW will be the acronym for that, right? So he's doing a lot of FOIA access requests on the Department of War, and basically because he knew the Tic Tac video, the Nimitz video, and those major videos that most of us were aware of. He knew that there were other videos, but they're all classified behind the wall of national security. And it just seems, how come these videos are allowed out and these videos aren't allowed out? Or is it feels like an internal struggle with various credentialed, tokened people trying to, I don't know, it feels like the Pandora's box is open, and the state is trying to push that box back closed to stop any more getting out. That's what it feels like. But yeah, I want to ask Paul, how do you feel the first congressional hearing in July 2023 with David Grush went, how impactful was that for you to have high-level credentialed security officers come out into the light and give a witness testimony in front of a congressional hearing? How did that impact you?
I think it was a really good start compared to the history, which seems to be the elephant in the room that a lot of people haven't wanted to speak about. And I've been the advocate for that one, along with some other people. But better late than never, because I mean, we had director of the CIA, 3-star Admiral Hillenkotter saying if we need to have open hearings, and there were others. Major General retired Barry Goldwater was told you can't get this information because it's above top secret. And I understand that. I mean, there's the information as an educator, and Jay, I know you know this too, with your academic background, is that you've got to carefully design your curriculum and tactfully deliver it. You can't just drop it like an egg in a pan and turn the fire on high. So I understand that there's got to be some discretion. So what I heard in 23 was a good start. A lot of missing pieces. And also people need to remember that when you are in the military and you are speaking out about things that are sensitive, people are listening. It doesn't matter. It does not matter how many hold harmless disclosures have been signed. If they don't like what you're talking about, you're going to hear about it. And so a lot of moving pieces in this puzzle here. Having them come out and say, yes, there is something there, that's further than we got back in the 60s. Now, the Pandora's box is we need to start talking about the human ETs behind these things, because somebody is making them. Don't tell me they're non-human. They're using biorobotics as we do. I mean, look at what Musk is doing with his biorobotics, and a lot of that isn't being spoken about in public. So we've got a lot of missing pieces here, a lot of things that aren't ready for full disclosure, but a lot that are ready for full disclosure.
Yeah, I think for me with the testimony by David Grush, when he dropped, and I'm going to use the phrase, you know, when he dropped the about the biologics, it was like, oh, okay. And then the Congresswoman said, do you mean like human or non-human? And it came back non-human biologics. But the expression biologics, has that been used outside of these circles? Because biological material and logics is a form of like programming, like logical programming, biologics. And it just the response on that raised some questions from me about, well, what do you mean by biologics? Is this like a, you know, skin sample, or are we talking like a, you know, a corporeal body has been removed? And I think your whole, you know, the whole thing about kind of biological robots. I mean, we could segue into that, Jay. You know, I can go for hours on kind of humans as programmable machines, right? You know, so we're not that far removed from, you know, autonomous robots in a way. It poses a lot of questions about, you know, the real puppet masters, which I think Paul is getting at, the real puppet masters behind the humans, behind, you know, that thing.
And it's mostly not the, okay, I will say some elected officials are probably brought into the fold, but most of them are not elected officials because of the fact that if they're looking at, like, some presidents are read in and some aren't. Some are read in a little bit and some are read in nothing at all. It depends on whether or not the major gatekeepers of these programs are saying to themselves, they have a meeting or something together and they say, well, this guy is going to become president. Can we trust him with information? And they say yes or no, and they vote. And that's how I think they read in the next president or not. I mean, I don't know how Paul feels on that, but I mean, I know for a fact that somebody told me that the president was even a what was it called, a not a permanent position.
That's right. Yeah, your maximum 8 years, and then it's toodaloo, right? So how much do we? If he's only here for 8 years, how much? Or he or she is here for 8 years.
They can stonewall until that they stonewall him for 4 years in court, and he's no longer president. Then they don't read him in. He doesn't matter, In
the UK, our prime minister, one of our prime ministers, was a man called Boris Johnson, and prior to him being a prime minister, he was the foreign secretary. That would be the head honcho in charge of MI6, our secret service and foreign spying program. It was revealed later that due to his connections with, playing tennis with Russians, that he could have been a security threat. So as the foreign secretary, he was not read in to all, he wasn't debriefed fully on everything that was taking place within that. So if you're the head of this beast, and you're not even getting the information as head of the beast, because the beast itself is an entity in law unto itself, that feels like the situation with so many compartmentalized areas within, this arena of secrecy and government intrigue.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about that, Paul?
Again, more moving pieces in the Pandora's box, and we've seen it with the, I'll press a hot button here, the Project 2025, people that so totally believe in an ideology that they are willing to do anything to promote it and protect it. It wasn't that long ago. Remember what happened to Galileo. He died under house arrest and having said that his sun-centered theories and other teachings were wrong. And then we go over to Bruno. Bruno talked about life in the universe, and they couldn't handle that. They executed him. So people do a lot of different things to protect their beliefs, and that's another reason why we've got to very tactfully, as smart educators, figure out what information needs to be brought out and when and how.
I 100% agree. Let's finish the clip with David Grush real quick.
I am driven by a commitment of both to truth and transparency, rooted in our inherent duty to uphold the United States Constitution and protect the American people. I'm asking Congress to hold our government to this standard and thoroughly investigate these claims. But as I stand here under oath now, I am speaking to the facts as I've been told them. In the U.S. Air Force, in my National Reconnaissance Office, NRO, reservist capacity, I was a member of the UAP task force from 2019 to 2021. I served at the NRO Operations Center on the director's briefing staff, which included the coordination of the Presidential Daily Brief and supporting variety of contingency operations, which I was the Reserve Intelligence Division Chief backup. In 2019, the UAP Task Force Director asked me to identify all special access programs and controlled access programs, also known as SAPs and CAPs, we needed to satisfy our congressionally mandated mission, and we were direct report at the time to the DepSecDef. At the time, due to my extensive executive level intelligence support duties, I was cleared to literally all relevant compartments and in a position of extreme trust, both in my military and civilian capacities. I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program.
And that is where we will stop it right there because we don't need to read the whole thing, but a multi-level, multi-decade. Hey, we see Paul now. Yeah. A multi-decade program that it's just, it keeps just stacking on top. Paul, here's a question for you. How do we break the cycle?
I think there's a number of different ways. There were sightings there's been sightings since recorded time. But there have been sightings over Rome, over the Vatican, and high-level theologians have spoken out about the marvels of creation being universal. Science has backed that up, finding that we have the building blocks of life throughout the cosmos as far as they've researched it. So theology is one area because people are very invested in their theological beliefs. And if their religious leaders start helping them connect the dots with regard to creation in the universe and people actually developing to the point where they can fly these crafts at speeds unbelievable to us, that would be one step. Another step, too, and I know we'll talk about this, is, well, Steven Spielberg's got another movie coming out. And my question to the listeners, and especially those of you in the listening audience who have skills and care in the area of video and cinema production, will that upcoming Spielberg movie bring more hope or more fear? We are blasted with media. Go back to 1938, the War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have, and I've on my one-page congressional testimony, which will be posted. There's some links at the bottom, and I reference some of these things that there have been some movies. For example, the 1951 black and white, The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Oh, one of my favorites.
I mean,
Such a good story. Such a good story. They made a remake with Keanu Reeves, but if you've only seen the Keanu Reeves film, go and see the original.
Absolutely.
You have not lived unless you've seen the original.
Absolutely. And real important, human pilots and passengers, and the robotics, and the way that they use their force, like good teachers. You gotta put some kids back in their seats, and they certainly did that. So we've got those examples. Those are two right there: the theology approach, the media approach, and there's going to be a lot more.
I'll give you another movie real quick. You already know it, George.
Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, he got it. Flight of the Navigator. My favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, it's a good one. That I think going back to the theology approach, where if disclose, do I coin a phrase? Closure on disclosure, right? Okay, when it's all said and done, and the cat is out of the bag and the box is fully open. Sure, they maybe ran the radio Orson Welles broadcast of War of the Worlds to see the response, to see if it would generate panic. I think that was a controlled event. I think when they released that audio on radio back in at that time, it was a controlled event. People came home, tuned into their radio. They didn't know it was a play. They thought it was real. They thought it was an actual broadcast. They panicked. They got their belongings and they ran. This is the power of the media. So Paul is absolutely right. A multi-headed approach to disclosure by various entities such as theological or religious leaders speaking to their congregational people, the media as a major force. And I think actually on the point of the Spielberg film that's coming out, it is an opportunity to instill hope. I do sense it could be quite fearful, judging by the trailer that's released. So hopefully it's not, another War of the Worlds-esque bad entities turning up. I hope it's a more positive story. I think Spielberg will probably weave some positivity into it, at least, but that's speculation.
Yeah, but I've got some videos and stuff to show actually about that, but we're going to continue on for 2025 though.
Okay.
So we've got videos that came out, Navy pilot videos that came out. Okay. Yeah. These videos, they were spot on, and their own expression and their own testimony on these audios says enough. So we'll go ahead and put that on. Wait a minute. I guess I got to remove the one from the stage and
a night vision video from a Navy.
It's not the right one. There we go. Got it.
Nickel 6-1 Tango Logic, over.
Oh, got it! Woohoo!
Roger, there's troubleshooting.
Did you box moving target?
602.
No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at it fly! Dude, that is a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
That stands out to me, by the way, and everybody needs to hear that one, okay? They show you the video, though. This is the unclassified version, right? Oh, too loud. I'm sorry. Let me turn that down for you guys. Hold on. It might be way too loud. Hold on. There we go. How's that? It will be a little loud because they yell, but I turned it pretty much all the way down.
Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at it fly!
But they say on this, though, there's a whole fleet of them. Okay, now I remember that when they said that. They only show you one unclassified. Here it is. But where's the video showing the whole fleet of them? I want to see that one.
Yeah, my take on this is the audio is arguably more interesting than what's on screen. I mean, the skill to pick up on these objects using the tracking systems they have is genuine. The excitement is genuine.
Yeah.
The shock and surprise they've managed to finally lock onto one of these it's a difficult situation for them to deal with. And then genuine shock and surprise that we managed to get one when we could pop a missile or something at it if we wanted to. Yeah.
Fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
There's a whole fleet of them.
Is that 20, 25, 30? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what a whole fleet
could mean a number of numbers.
Yeah. But I think you're right. You know, if you mention that and you release this video, it's like, okay, well, can we see the other displays showing the fleet?
Yeah.
We get that too, please.
What do you think, Paul? It'll never come out, will it?
One of the challenges they have is that they do not want to show detail. Because once they start showing detail of these crafts, that opens up a Pandora's box going back to the 40s, 50s, and 60s, where there were actual landings and contacts with the pilots and passengers.
And I can add something to this too. The video. Okay, when you're in the military, the drones and the Reaper drone cameras and stuff, that the footage of that Hellfire missile that went and hit that UAP and went through it and everything, they de-resolutioned that video. Okay, they took you have to understand how high powerful these drones are that the U.S. Army has for the cameras, that the precision. They're like, what are they, 4K Ultra HD, like huge quality. But then you get like 640 by.
Devil's in the details. I think Paul was right there. The devil's in the details, and if we can obfuscate the details, then you're left in the dark. You only have an inkling that up is up and down is down.
Well, also you have to be specific, because if you're doing an FOIA and you request a video and you say, I would like the 4K version of this video because I know the Reaper drone has this video capability, you de-resed it, can I have the original? Then they have to give you a reason why they don't give you the original, and you continue the process. But
there was a book that came out, this one here,
James M. Campbell,
and this, he's a NASA contractor at Copyright 73. He's a scientist, and he did an analysis of what he could find of the different sightings, and this is a good starting point. The other one that I would recommend to people.
Wow. Okay, you've had that one.
Now, be careful. This was done by Edward Ruppelt, who was director. He was head of the Project Blue Book, and be careful with this one. You want the copyright 1956. Because the one that came out after this, he was already working for one of the defense contractors, and the slant changed a little bit.
A different edition, literally a different edition.
So you want 1956, but this is just loaded with the history that myself and a few others have been promoting that we really need to look at, that's fundamental to this whole discussion.
Okay, yeah, like if you have insights into I think my perspective is always that this is a human story. It's I'm always interested in people, their psychology of how this affects them or how they affect it. I'm based in the UK. I'm here, like, there's not, it's literally crickets at night making noise when it comes to UFO, UAP in the UK. But there seems to be a bit of tension that if the US keeps releasing this information and going, yeah, we told a fib, yeah, they're real, yeah, we've got these retrieve craft, yeah, we've got biologics, yeah, and it's incremental towards, opening the box fully, then other nation states on the planet will have no alternative but to go, well, if that's them, what about us?
Sure.
I would like to start an interest group, a cross-party, bipartisan, as you would call it, interest group to try and get a UK select committee to speak to the people, the gatekeepers that we have in the UK. The chances of that happening until USA, our big brother, comes out with the information is, or our American cousins across the pond, the special agreement, the transatlantic UK USA. I suspect that if there is a momental push towards disclosure by the American administration, then the UK would have been in part briefed on that due to the nature of the intelligence sharing between USA and UK. I feel so it's feasible that to get the green light to go ahead with releasing this incremental information, it could be the UK has been involved at some high level to say, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. Great book. I'm just wondering, can we get the the book recommendations there? I want to get a hold of this 1956 original NASA scientist investigation, obviously part of Project Blue Book, which was set up to debunk with Alan Hynek and so forth.
Right.
But peeling away the onion skin and looking at the subtext, it sounds like that much loved copy you've got there is a real insightful document.
And
Yeah.
what I have done is
Wow.
I've gone through it, and I've created my own index.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to share that with anybody that's.
Yeah, please photostat it. We can type it up and then share it with people who are interested for sure, Paul.
The other one, Major Donald Keogh.
Yeah.
His books I have found likewise extremely well documented. Names, places, ranks, because he was the major driving force behind the predecessor to MUFON, NICAP, and his book.
All right, wow, it's a real collection you've got here.
Yeah. Flying Saucers Top Secret. I remember that.
And I mean, like in the back here, he's got the document. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, that's a pretty good resolution there. We can't pick out the individual words, but we can obviously see operations and training manual.
Yeah, and there. I mean, what's sadly humorous about this is that we have people on TV getting paid a lot of money with these great titles, telling us, "Oh, there's nothing there." But excuse me, 12/24/59. They were telling us it was there.
Wow.
It seems like they put out a bit of truth and then they just sprinkle like me and George were talking. They went into an area and they picked up all the UFO crash stuff, and then they went and they had little bits and pieces, and they couldn't pick up all of it. So they said, okay, what do we do? Well, let's get two garbage trucks. We'll just spread a bunch of scrap metal across the whole area. And they did that, and it's like finding a needle in a haystack, trying to find like bits and pieces of this like metal they missed.
Yeah, I think it was in the last couple of months, there was a downed craft just outside of Groom Lake Area 51 in the Nevada desert, and military vehicles had set up trackways to recover whatever this downed thing was.
Mm-hmm.
And when local investigators heard, they went out to have a look, and not only was the track made, but the area of the retrieval, whatever it was, nobody knows what it was, had been sprinkled with objects of metal and plastic almost the whole area was sanitized and then obfuscated to stop anybody going back and picking out anything of importance. So it seems to be like a backfilling, a book comes out, amazing information. Here's training manual or a training operations guide on what to do if you encounter a crash disk, and then it's the obfuscation part is, oh no, we can't allow that. So what we'll do is we'll just murky the waters even more. In fact, I'm actually the book collections you've got there, Paul, you must open, you've been researching this topic for some time, I imagine. And so I can tell from the books how much loved they are. Yeah.
And this the jumping over to the lunar side of the discussion, because I'm watching on LinkedIn, and if you have any listeners out there that aren't using LinkedIn, I really encourage you to do that, because it's think of it as a professional level Facebook, and there's some real serious, straightforward discussion taking place, and I'm finding it real interesting that the different lunar groups are popping up now. And we were told that the moon is dead. That goes back my early days.
Okay.
And then they would say, "Oh, nothing's happening up there." But then this is dated April '66. My wife ordered this from the Goddard Space Force.
Well, chronological listing of lunar events, number 6624927 by M. Middlehurst and J. M. Burley, April 1956? No, 1966.
66. Yeah. Wow.
And these go back.
Hmm.
The first one in here starts at 1587. So these are people who are studying the stars back then. Then it jumps up to the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, and into our current day. So when people say there's nothing happening, wait a minute.
Yeah. And you know, off the back of that, I think you know, Dr. Beatrice Villarroel's work on the transients pre-satellite era. So there's no satellites in space. She's got observational slides. She's married them up sequence after sequence and found these transient objects floating around up there, which is amazing work. Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
George, did you drink my Kool-Aid, or did you like?
I've only ever had Kool-Aid twice in my life, purely because my mum worked on RAF Bentwaters, which was an American military nuclear installation. She worked there on the commissary as a promotions lady. So in the mid 80s, I had a lot of Americana, Kool-Aid, and various other products as well. I won't mention for fear of being accused of promoting. But yeah, no, I'm definitely an Anglophile, American-phile. And but the expression "Did you drink my Kool-Aid?" What does that mean? It's a refreshing drink.
Because
it goes back to the Guyana tragedy, where almost 1,000 people committed suicide by drinking James Jones's Kool-Aid.
Okay,
Right, yeah,
let's make another. Let's switch that one then. So, all right. We got the next one coming up to the stage here.
A mysterious flying triangle above the.
Jeremy
What
Corbell.
happened?
Okay.
Mysterious flying triangle above it.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Nah, it's not going to play the whole thing, but Paul, this came out on the news with this triangle that was above the I think it was a carrier strike group out in the ocean. Now, if you can look at this, there is a reflection of this though over to the left, which is like, I'm not sure if it's like another object or what, but
Yeah, that gets real picky, because with lenses and light reflections and refractions, a lot of things like that can show up. So, don't know.
Yeah, it got put out. I mean, the only thing now, you're space science and education and everything. What would you do to make a better lens to catch these so that it would not have refraction?
Yeah, I would get together with the scientists that specialize in ocular physics and sit them down and go, okay, what do we have? How do we make it better? Because that's really their kettle of fish, and I'm sure they're thinking about it, which goes back to money.
Everything always ends with that too. It ends with, but I need about, like, I'll be low. I need $2 billion.
I think if aliens are walking here among us in some form, they're probably in banking.
Yeah,
right.
It makes sense for a control paradigm, right?
They have to be.
or or maybe a junior bank teller. I'm not sure, but who knows? But I reckon they're in finance at some level.
Yeah, that's a real challenge we have on this planet. We've built ourselves this spider web of greed, and I mean, all of us have to pay our bills, and then we start making a little, and we realize, hey, I could use a little bit more. I could use a little bit more. And I mean, I was thinking about it just the other day. I'd like to do some traveling, and then I like aviation, and I'm seeing the Honda jet and the Cirrus jet coming out for only $3 million, and then that doesn't pay for the upkeep.
Yeah,
only 3 million.
Yeah. It maybe to add some positivity into the conversation about automatic roboticization of the workforce and robots taking over our jobs and AI taking over our jobs, is that at some point money becomes defunct and therefore a new system has to be instilled.
That's true. And if I were in the multi-billionaire club, and I was sitting around drinking my cocktails and smoking whatever, I'd be having those discussions with my fellow fat cats. Going, hey, we can't let this happen.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah. It's like was it the man in the ivory tower? You're sitting up there in the high castle and you've got everything you need, but it's dependent on the structure below you. And if that structure goes, you lose your castle and everything you've got. But I think I had a discussion with Jay the other day about Gene Roddenberry's vision with Star Trek and how that kind of future, like that's a pure vision of a future with doing things for passion and for the sake of exploration. That's the reality that we maybe obviously perhaps not in our lifetime, but maybe in a couple of 3 generations, there could be a situation where the positivity coming out of the AI, the positivity coming out of the roboticization, there might be teething problems along the way. That's normal with any technology.
Well, if you remember,
all right,
when this was in the news, I can remember reading some of the financial breakdowns of what they estimated we would produce economically and as a workforce, and it just really makes me suspicious when I see the push to go to Mars, which I wish them well, but I wouldn't want to be on that mission. But we've already got this on the drawing board. NASA sponsored it. This isn't that far out. This could revolutionize the economy for the whole planet, but there's other interests.
So it's other interest groups and lobbying groups, and oil and fossil fuel industry generally doesn't want to move to clean fusion or even beyond fusion. Maybe on this show we've discussed 0 point a few times. Various scientists kind of discovering and then sadly, being removed from the game. So the synchronicities keep on continuing as various people discover that potentially there is free energy, and the ones that control the meters so that we're all charged for that energy is they want to keep the hegemony of that paradigm. And it's a little bit. It just feels like it's getting a little bit. It feels like it's getting a little bit tedious now. I try and remain positive for the future, and I think as a species on this singular planet, we will get through these difficult times that potentially a lot of people feel we're in at the moment. Sorry, Jay, what's this video? What's coming up now?
This is David Grush answering questions about non-human intelligences.
Shocker. Mr. Grush, a couple of questions for you too, sir, this morning. What percentage of UAPs do you feel are adequately investigated by the U.S. government, of the 5% that are reported?
I can only speak for my personal leadership over at NGA. I tried to look at every report that came through that I could triage. So,
do you believe that officials at the highest levels of our national security apparatus have unlawfully withheld information from Congress and subverted our oversight authority?
There are certain elected leaders that had more information that I'm not sure what they've shared with certain Gang of Eight members or et cetera, but certainly I would not be surprised.
Okay. You've stated that the government is in possession of potentially non-human spacecraft. Based on your experience and extensive conversations with experts, do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
We'll stop there, right there. But I'm going to say yes, we already have made contact, or that we've made. Maybe that we haven't made direct, like, one-on-one contact. We know everything they say. They know everything we say. But we've made some kind of contact to where they can understand something that we say and we can understand something that they say. Because, back in World War II, there was, the Germans. There was talk of them using psychics to tune in to another realm to get this information to make progress on the war machine.
Yeah, I think just in side chat we've got some stuff going on about weaponizing space and things, and I think it's a fruitless, pointless thing to kind of if another species is 500,000 years older than us, with our current rate of technological advancement in the early 21st century, then it makes sense that something that's 500,000 years older than us, what threat would we pose? So the only real reason to have those things in space, to shoot down beams or lasers or whatever the latest idea is, would be as a fear paradigm. Now, there's been a discussion whether some of these entities feed off raw emotion like fear and worry. So it's possible that there's this kind of a group or groups unknown of NHI who are attempting to massage the emotional state of the planet for some unknown reason. But I do sense that there is good out there as well. I think the dark forest theory of staying quiet in the forest so you don't get hunted by the predators. I do get that, but it's too late. The TV signals are already beaming out. If you're out by the Voyager probe, you're probably picking up like TV signals from the 1920s, and if that hits a species, they're going to be like, "What's this?" I think mathematics is the language that we all share in common. And so maybe, again, the promise of AI is the ability to interface the AI with an alien AI so it can communicate. The first contact scenario is fraught with danger, not least like referring back to the day the Earth stood still. Classic sequence where the gentleman, Clark 2 comes out of the UFO that's landed in Washington DC, and he's shot for holding up a gift because the humans don't understand. So it could be that initial AI communication between systems. Has it already happened? I think, Jay, you're probably right. Paul, do you think it's already happened? Do you think we've met and there's an agreement or agreements? Re-MJ12?
From what I have read, and even some people that I've had the contact with, yes, and this one here, he catalogs some of the contacts.
Wow.
And The fear factor, we are the fear mongers here. So I think they need to be very careful about how they approach us. It's kind of like, we're landing. We've got a helicopter. We're landing on a primitive island that has had no progress, so to speak, and some of them would want to kill us. Some of them would want to worship us. Then they see our flying machine, and they'd see it disappear into the sky. So they're going to create explanations about etherical situations. So as teachers, they need the recon carefully, and history seems to indicate that they have been doing that, and then they have made contacts, even with some of the presidents.
Yeah. Which begs the question: if that's the case, history shows that human species is fairly aggressive with its national flag waving, if you want to call it planetary flag waving, if you want to call it that. And I think if meetings have happened between was it Dwight D. Eisenhower and the MJ-12 situation, majestic situation, meeting with I guess an envoy from another species off-world or parts unknown, and an agreement was in place, which people are always trying to set dates, and I'm unclear whether it was an 80-year embargo or a 100-year embargo, but certainly once that embargo is up, then is it another embargo, another meeting takes place? There's so many questions here, but I think,
George, I want to interrupt you there because you read my mind again. Ding, ding, ding. Here's another guest we're going to have on the Galactic Family Podcast coming up. You ready for this one? Laura Eisenhower. That's right. I got a hold of Laura Eisenhower, great-granddaughter of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, and she is going to be on the Galactic Family Podcast coming up in next year.
That's again, like family information on disclosure and potentially groundbreaking stuff. Good work, Jay.
And
another one.
Speaking of other guests, if you haven't, this is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As an example, he and his family in '63 were in downtown Washington, and
oh wow, clear image.
They saw that type of ship, which, by the way, the debunkers will say those don't exist. Well, they're seen around the world. The news article, because a writer for that paper was in the group of 30 that looked up and saw this at about 1,200 feet above ground level. When the article finally came out, it said it was 12,000 feet above ground level. The author contacted the newspaper writer because they were standing together on the corner watching, and the newspaper writer said, "Hey, I didn't have a choice. National security mandated that we change the number."
Well, that's with didn't we also have the church committee also that came out that said that there was NSA and national security interests in all the major news organizations out there. There's a person there saying whether or not the story goes and gets on the news or not.
Have you guys heard of this one?
No, I have not.
I'm a big fan of Hollywood's B movies, that kind of era.
And according to Bruce Rooks, the author, he's saying that if you are making a movie dealing with this subject, you have to get it approved.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not in that business, so I don't have personal experience with it, but he's got a whole book documenting it. So any videographers, movie makers out there, if you know about this, let us know.
That could segue into like I know Jay's got the breakdown at the end. So yeah, like I'm like we'll hold on to that, because it's like that's if an entire book is backing up evidence to suggest that scripts are, put forward between some innocuous guy in a tie, yeah. We got it.
All right.
Oh,
this is a report that came out on the news about Immaculate Constellation.
And joining me now is the chairwoman who made today happen, South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Congresswoman, thank you for being with us. Those of us who've been following this very closely have been hearing whispers of the words Immaculate Constellation for a few months now. You went out and put it straight on the record. Why did you think that was important?
Well, it's important that if the Pentagon or other federal agencies hiding these programs that they deny from the American public, and yet we learn recently that it actually does exist, the American people ought to know the truth and the facts. There's so much that we have overclassified. You can't talk about the date of some of the alleged UAP imagery, for example. Some of the witnesses couldn't even describe what they've seen because of the way things have been overclassified. You can't talk about the budget for some of these programs because that's classified. We overclassify everything. Into what end? Does it really make America safer? I don't think so. And the American people deserve to know the truth.
It must have been very frustrating for you sitting up there and not being able to get a lot of those straight answers. Was for people that were watching it too. And then you posted this very mysterious report for the public to see with alleged details about Immaculate Constellation. What is in here is wild. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but reports of F-22s getting like boxed in by flying orbs that they couldn't shake. There were satellite images or satellite image of a football field-sized flying saucer hiding in clouds seen from this satellite looking down. Have you seen any of this footage or these images?
I have not seen those images or footage, but of course we're going to want to go digging for it in a skiff right after this. But the question I asked Michael Schellenberger, the journalist who was there testifying today, was when he wrote this report about the Immaculate Constellation, was did he have more than one source? And the type of sourcing he used, he had multiple sources, they had clearances, they were very credible individuals, and that's really important detail when you're bringing forth this kind of information.
Absolutely. And Congresswoman,
so what I'm getting with this is we're starting to get now that everything is breaking loose, Grush comes out and is now somebody has to break the mold for somebody to come out. Okay, something has to break. And what broke for him was he couldn't get any more information. They weren't giving him it. They were saying, no, you can't have this. And he was saying, no, I have the clearances. I have the levels. You're going to let me see this. And then he just took it up, as needed up the chain of, command to IG or whatever complaint. But he gets stonewalled. Everybody gets stonewalled. And it's not the people that are elected. It's the unelected people that are there permanently in these positions that are in the background going, hey, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
I don't know if Paul wants to come in, but my thoughts is, Immaculate Constellation, which I think came about through Matthew Brown. What was interesting is prior to that term as a project coming out, it had been Googled a certain amount of times and the analytics showed that it spiked before coming out as a term. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, if your government, my government say, oh, we were doing something here, but we definitely stopped it and closed it down, and it's, we pulled funding, we definitely didn't change the name, we definitely didn't move it over to a beta program, we did, and it's just like, okay, well, you kind of been shown to be telling a few porkies here and there. English terminology: porky pie, pork pie, lies. That's so fibs. it's not uncommon. Was it the church committee hearing on MK Ultra? Yeah, like we just lost the documents. Not all of them. Oh dear, Dan, somebody didn't do their job properly. This wasn't redacted properly. This wasn't got rid of properly. But we definitely shut it down, and people are in trouble with severe finger wagging. So I think we're kind of just gaslit a little bit. And I think, the core element there is that the representative has to go into a skiff to get more information. But really, she should be able to pull people into a room and say, where's this money going? Where are these videos? Like I sometimes feel like, I know there's personal opinion, but if people go into a skiff and the perspex changes color and there's no light and there's no cameras and it's all compartmental, do they come out the same person? Could this be an alien? Could this be some form of alien, like
don't say revenge of the oh, what is it called?
Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about. Yeah, but is this a kind of like
pod people?
Yeah, a slow assimilation of the population by getting key representatives to be changed. I wouldn't go in a skiff. No way. I'm not going in that room.
Well, that could be metaphorical too. We continue to precondition through the media and the other influences we've been talking about, and then they become changed and their behaviors change and their needs change, and we've got, they become the pod people and we made them.
Well, also, there's been people saying that when you go into these, all right, civilian or not, okay, military, I can understand because at some certain level, there's some intelligence they have to, smudge. Okay. Civilian comes out and says, I see this. I have this piece of UFO technology in my hands, and I go into a skiff. I can't talk about it ever again after I leave that skiff because now I've signed an NDA. Right when I walk in that skiff, the first thing they do is say, here's a piece of paper. It's an NDA. Anything we discuss in here, you can't talk about, including anything you have in your hands, which is everything. So when you go in there, even as a civilian, you have to abide by that NDA when you come out. So you are a changed person because you're in that setting. You're given certain knowledge of certain things that they will tell you that you can't say outside of there. And it blows your mind sometimes. It really does. Like, who was it who just came out with the alien interview? Who said he was done? He found Victor and the alien interview video.
Yeah.
Yes. He found him and he said he's done because Victor and him talked, and he said he won't, and he respects his privacy, which I understand that too, but he got what he wanted. He went up to Victor and he said, "What is going on?" And Victor told him, and he said, "I'm done. That's what I wanted to know." It's so out there that I can't tell anybody.
It feels like reality is classified.
Yeah,
too. Like here's the city, and here's all the toys and the flashy lights and the rides and the cars and the aeroplanes. But the big picture is definitely no, you're not old enough yet. It's like reality, keep reality secret at any cost.
And what's interesting is that we've heard this before when NASA was first commissioned. And a year later, they contracted with the Brookings Institute. And one of the warnings that Brookings came back with is when you find anything related to ETs or ET artifacts, don't talk about it because possible culture shock. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm already suffering from culture shock. For me, it started with Vietnam, Then I went in with being a veterans counselor and having my vets be told, take Thorazine and manage your dreams. And then going into education and being told, you can't teach that. And then seeing what's happening with politics, I got culture shock. So I'm not worried about people that have advanced to the point where they can go faster than the speed of light and be able to avoid being shot at and continue to come here on a reconnaissance, we're here mission. So, I mean, to me, let's
more power. I think kind of like if you've experienced that kind of like culture shock, as you say, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, you know, hey, for me, I'm like the day after disclosure or closure of disclosure, like when it's done and dusted and everyone has this new paradigm of understanding, I'm probably still going to have to go to the shop every other day to go and get my milk and bread, right? So I'm still in that supply chain. Just hopefully there's no people running around with pitchforks and flame kind of like things. I mean, that's the scary, which I think, going back to your previous comment about theology and theologians having such influence on a population, media having an influence on the population. But, you know, we talk about this etheric, the population. Well, I'm a member of that pond. You're a member of that pond. We're all members of the pond. And it does feel, since the congressional hearings in America, that the people are slowly opening up, and there's more stories coming out of the woodwork. Yourself as a researcher and being into the topic for a period of time, you've seen phases. So would you say that the prognosis of disclosure is a positive one, that we may get? Do you think we'll ever get full disclosure, or will certain documents be set alight and got rid of?
I see it at a couple of different levels, because whether it's whether it's this is disclosure, and this comes down to the personal responsibility we have to be intelligent earthlings and to figure out how to function without hurting other people. And I realize in this day and age that's a foreign concept to some, but I think it's valid, and I think that it's solid. So that disclosure is taking place, and the big disclosure of people getting on the media at night and going, that we need to tell you this. We're not alone in the universe, and the pattern of creation, humankind is universal, and they have technology and lifestyles that we can benefit from. So here we are.
But we need to start changing the laws too, because as Alan Levine says here, that we're going to play next, this is what happened to Bob Lazar.
But we don't need a UAP bill. Don't need it. Congressman Burchett has echoed this. I've shared it in posts. I've shared it in interviews that I've done. Under Title 18, 831 and 832, the federal government has the authority with eminent domain to seize any unregistered nuclear materials or weapons of mass destruction, which a flying saucer would definitely come under. And if you think they wouldn't do it, ask Bob Lazar, when in 2017, the FBI descended on his business with a search warrant for, guess what? Unregistered nuclear materials.
Mm-hmm. So that's another thing. Like we're running into problems to where we need to get the laws changed first and get ahead of it before we start thinking about trying to change, down here. You got to get the laws in place first, right? We have to change them.
Yeah.
Or amend them.
Paul, have you got any ideas about how law and lawfare affect the topic and lead to that closure of disclosure that we've already spoken about? How does law and lawfare, again, if the aliens are on the planet and they're in banking, I expect some of them are lawyers as well.
Sure. And from what I've heard is that they'll help where they can, but they're not going to force us because they won't violate our learning curve. I guess, what did they call that? The Prime Directive on one of the shows. But what I would do is I would invite the people from the legal community who have these interests to have a symposium. You know, start meeting in your living rooms. Do it unofficially. It's kind of like, let's pretend that we're on the mothership trying to figure out, okay, how do we help these people? Because they're killing themselves.
Yeah.
And we see their behaviors, we see their choices. How do we help them? So how do we help them legally? I remember Tim Good. He was he was always very excellent at coming up with these famous, well-known people to do his introductions in his books. And he used one which was a apparently well-known attorney from Great Britain that did one of his introductions. And because I don't have those skills, it was over my head, but I did get the idea that this attorney, using the rules of law, was basically endorsing Tim's approach. So, you know, there's a starting place.
Yeah, I'd like, if I can quickly come in, Jay, I think that the mechanics and the mechanism of the administrations that we deal with, what the people, good or bad eggs, it doesn't matter, in the suits with the briefcases, with the documents, what they worry about is whether it's legal or not legal. So whenever they're, you know, whenever there's a preempt, there's always, well, is there a legal argument to do that? Are we going to get in trouble with some living tribunal of aliens on the moon or something? I don't know. You know, is the thing that I don't like using. I don't really want to tar everyone with the same brush, but like the kind of like these vampires in suits. What they worry about is not the light of the daytime shining on them. It's the legal, like laying down the documents on them. So I think kind of, as far as kind of this movement that we have online, this kind of progression towards more understanding of our role in the cosmos, law has to, in 2025, 26, 27, the legal ramifications, the lawyers have to come in on, you know, like you say, make a symposium. Can we apply pressure? I mean, just by doing Freedom of Information Acts, you're using the law for our advantage to get information on these things. So legality and law really does come into it. I feel. Jay, do you want to come in on that law and
just I'm like I said before, is that, you know, we have to enact the laws or adapt the laws to the changing environment. Like I understand World War II. I understand the Cold War, and we were afraid that, you know, the Russians were getting ahead of us and all that. I understand all that. We're not in that era anymore. So we need to adapt the laws to the times and not go with the 1967 law.
What was the whistleblower amnesty? So if you come out of the shadows with information on the UAP UFO topic, you're given more protection. I think enacting those kind of things is potentially a good thing. Whether there's probably going to be some kind of screening at that level to allow some individuals through, others maybe like I don't know. It all gets wrapped up in national security and black boxes, and it's kind of a bit, I don't know. Yeah, it's and obviously kind of like these so-called legal, you know, we can do this, we can do that, and it ends up with misery for people. It's no bueno. Yeah.
Well, I think that's also the value of what the three of us are doing and other people that we know. I'm hopeful for what I'm seeing here today. I'm hopeful for what I'm seeing coming out of LinkedIn. Because if I saw none of that, it'd be kind of hopeless. Because what I see on this side of the pond is the rule of law. If you're wealthy enough and have enough power and can manipulate fear, the rule of law is a fluid hammer that you can use any way you want.
Yeah, I think I feel the same from this side of the pond, certainly looking at some current events, that when they say nobody is above the law, I think you'll find that some people actually may
now
be.
Called UAP.
And that's quite scary.
Report on possible.
Hold on, I was just getting up. Sorry, George. Go ahead.
No. I was echoing what Paul says. I think kind of like I feel positive about kind of, if it was my interest alone and I had this data and there's nobody else, say, on any platform backing up what I'm investigating and finding out, the fact that you go on to a social media feed or you speak to somebody in the bar or the pub, and
I'm just glad also for the opportunity, and like Paul said about LinkedIn. I can echo that. You can go on LinkedIn and you can connect with so many people that are in the educational field, and it's amazing how many people that we've talked to even on this show that came from LinkedIn, saw us on LinkedIn, reached out.
It feels like you're not paddling alone in the canoe, but
exactly.
It's more like a dragon boat that's getting stronger with more and more people joining in.
Yeah, exactly. And you can find your place in there. Hey, Whistling Mike. Hey, happy to have you. We'll see you next time, man. I just want to play this real quick. I think it's like a 2-minute clip.
After a high-profile congressional hearing on UFOs, now called UAPs, the Pentagon released their annual report on possible sightings, but lawmakers are still not satisfied. Emma Withrow from the Fact Check team is back to discuss. So what are lawmakers asking for?
Yeah, so leaders in Congress, really on both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats, have pointed out the need for greater transparency from the Pentagon. They want to know what these government agencies have found out about UAPs, as well as whether or not taxpayer dollars are being spent to actually retrieve the UAPs and research them.
And so what have lawmakers done in terms of legislation to actually get the Pentagon and other government agencies to turn over what they know about UAPs?
Yeah, there's been bills on both sides of the aisle. So a group of bipartisan members of Congress introduced the UAP Transparency Act, which would require the president to tell all these federal agencies and the departments to open up the UAP research documents to the public within 270 days. And it would also require the president to give Congress a quarterly report that details the progress that's been made towards declassifying these records by every federal agency.
Obviously, there are costs involved. How much does the department?
My feeling is it doesn't matter about the cost. I really don't care about cost of program as long as it gets the job done.
In the previous clip, Mr. Levine said we don't need a UAP Disclosure Act. And, our understanding is that, like with Paul says, disclosure's already in the books and things. But I do feel from a legal point of view, a law point of view, that actually if you can stamp it into law to say, release the documents, release these things, and like nobody's going to, it's like you've been very naughty for fibbing. You've been very, very naughty, but we're not gonna take all the toys away from you, okay? But we want these ones back in the box, so we want these, okay? So I think we need to be understanding of our representatives that they may have been forced into a situation to cover up and we're all wrapped up by words and legality. I'm sure you guys have taken oath of allegiance to your flag and so on and so forth, and that it's important. But I think kind of these words in English wrap us up in binds and bonds. And I think to give somebody the chance to release themselves, to release from that verbiage. If you've got a legal document, yeah, more power. I think we should have it as well.
And I think the verbiage, you hit the nail on the head with that term, because the verbiage creates imagery, and that creates perceptions and feelings and generates into behavior. And where in that proposed legislation are the humans protected? It's non-human intelligence. And if you want to call extremely high-tech biorobotics non-human, I think that's we're missing the boat, because there's humans behind that. And the people that want to keep this quiet and confused and debunked are going to come up with words to confuse. And I don't.
Yeah.
I'll just graciously say, that they grabbed those words out. Those were the best words that they could find, but they're inaccurate and they're misleading.
Yeah. Things get written, rewritten, and certain words have legal weight depending on the dictionary that you use to interpret it. So then, for you and me who are not legal experts out there, you'd read something and go, oh, that means this, but in legal terms that means this, and then and so it's kind of like, well, can we have a clear statement on transparency and release of classified documentation? I mean, like, I think that's the thing with no like, if you've maintained for years and years and years that this doesn't exist, it doesn't exist, it's like you've hidden the toy. It doesn't exist, it doesn't, and then mum and dad go, no, you have got it, we found it under the bed. and then it's like, but don't worry, we're not, you're not in that much trouble, it's just don't do it again.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the like to choose an analogy, that's what it kind of feels like, that we need to not only protect the whistleblowers coming forward, but protect the people in the shadows who's been gatekeeping, right? Like these kind of shadow suit guys who are saying yes or no. These little cabals of clubs that get together to discuss in shady smoky rooms about moving forwards with this project or that one that no one knows about, and then people, obviously, kind of worst case scenario, people are maybe potentially even having to, or not having to, but losing their lives in this situation. And it's kind of like, look, if we do an amnesty means for everybody. So I think, I think whilst on the one hand, we already have from the books and the evidence disclosure, I think if it's enacted, it would mean people can come in to the conversation. I'm coming from a selfish point of view in that if the USA releases this, then my government in the UK has no alternative but to put it square front and centre in the House of Parliament to discuss. At the moment, it's a non-topic.
Is LinkedIn popular?
Yeah,
in the UK?
It's fairly popular. It's used for networking and business. Like how it was originally. So I mean, I'd like, I did a post the other day about, do I try and form a cross-party interest group so that members of Parliament can get briefed on events that are happening globally, such as in the American administration, so that they can then go out and find out more from their networks and see if they come against the brick walls that it seems like the congressional representatives are hitting, where they can't get the classified information, but they now know they can't get it. And so they're like, well, what's the point of having these mechanisms in place? You've got these mechanisms in place to give me the congressional hearing to be able to get all the, but then you're saying, well, yeah, you've got the power, but you don't really have the power, and we can't give you the toy under the bed. But it's like, oh, crying, would you just get on with it, please? That's kind of where we are. I think maybe a little bit cynical, maybe a little bit jaded over time, but I think we persist as a group, a species looking to the stars for exploration purposes and finding ourselves among the cosmos. I'm ever the optimistic that we can do this, but it just takes the will of the people.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that one, man. This is New Jersey drone footage. Well, not drone footage. New Jersey camera footage of supposed drones, but they are falling into the ocean.
Yeah, the drones that they can't use EMPs to shoot down nor have recovered and are definitely like from another nation state that they don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Not swamp gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
Wow,
they're
look at
shooting across there and just going right in the ocean.
That's crazy.
It's interesting that somebody decided to call these drones, because to me that's confusing, because
anomalous.
Yeah, where from my schooling, self-education, etc., to me these would be sensing discs. I mean, these are reconnaissance devices that are used like drones, but to call them drones, I mean, almost every other kid's got a drone today if they got the money. So it kind of confuses that to me.
I think,
no, that's very true. And then, like George said, they used equipment to try to take these things out of the sky, and it didn't work. So they're not drones.
When the mass so-called drones first came on the scene and nobody knew what it was, somebody very quickly figured out, well, if we call them drones, maybe we can set up this chain of events later. Okay, and also it takes away the worry for the citizen. Oh, what's that crazy light moving around at right angles at Mach 2? Oh, it's just a drone. It's a kid with a remote control, right?
Yeah, and if we were on the silence committee, this would be a great term to come up with. I mean, hey, buy them a beer and a pizza. That's a great idea.
I'm going to paraphrase my friend who's maybe in the chat still, Coffee Bum. He said, drones, so-called drones, are the new swamp gas.
Yeah.
That's...
Okay, so you discredit it. What is that strange light? Swamp gas, weather balloon, swamp gas, weather balloon. We've been here before. Drones, it's a new one. There we go. Try that.
Let's go back to the 40s and early 50s and look at the Foo Fighters.
Right. Yeah.
I posted it. I added it to my links on my upgraded testimony that you guys have. But the American Legion magazine, of all places, ran an article on Foo Fighters. And boy, does it parallel what we saw and are seeing with our current Navy aviators coming out and saying what they saw. I mean, these are squadron names, the flyers' names, the type of plane they were flying, and what they saw.
Are you aware of the Paul? Are you aware of the relatively Jay? I might have to bring you in here to help me, but it's the Sphere network.
Oh, yep, and we're going to get into that as well too.
I don't like that. My pronunciation's bad. Sphere network, SPHERE, Sphere network.
I am not.
Are you aware of this concept? Okay, it's the concept that with the phenomena generally being linked in with not only nuts and bolts retrievals and physical entities, but there is also potentially, and I can't quantify it, potentially a paranormal aspect to it, right? So you get strange phenomena after the abduction, after the witnessing of these things. Is this and forgive me if my data is wrong, but the Sphere network is like a protection paradigm for the biosphere. So we've got the planet Earth, and we're evolving on it. And I see these so-called drones, and I lean towards the kind of Sphere network as an understanding of what it could be. It's one guy from the UK on a mission. I'd have to get the details on that. Jay, are you aware of the Sphere network?
I am aware of the Sphere network, but I'm not aware of the person's name. I was actually
get the book.
pulling up these videos right now since you had mentioned Sphere Network. I was going to pull up images of the. What's that?
The man's name who released this idea is called Patrick Jackson.
Okay.
He's a UK citizen, and he wrote a book called The Sphere Network. And it's from his own personal years of study that looked at things like the boogosphere. Well, I'm on the fence on this one about the boogosphere, but yeah, it's like
this isn't the boogosphere. This is a this is another one that was recorded. Hold on, in Colombia.
Yeah.
In 2025.
Okay. Yeah. Fascinating. Like, I'm not sure. I think with the advent of AI and cinematography being in the hands of people at home, sometimes it makes it difficult now to consider. You know, I'm not saying that this is AI, but it could be, but you wouldn't know. And now we have to deal with that as well. Like going back to the 40s, 50s, and 60s with the technology that was available at the time. Yeah, you could get a silver frisbee and hoax something, but now we've got movement. You know, I'm on these. I'm going to quote Coffee Bum as well. Freaking orbs everywhere taking place, but I think this footage is immense. Really, I mean, you can see it rotating. You can see the lines on it, score marks on it.
Now, that's what I wanted to bring up. That I brought up to you before, George. All right, right there. I got it. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Rifling. When you take a shell and you put it in there, and it has the rifling down the barrel, right, to make it spin faster, right? Mm-hmm. Does this not look like it has rifling on the outside of it?
You could assume if that's the case, then it would be designed for the medium that it was designed for. So whether this would be like potentially good for going through air, I don't know how good that rifling, as you call it, would be for going transmedium into water.
Now that's where the boogosphere actually comes in by itself, is because hold on. I can. I'm going to put that on the screen now too, and that'll be the last of the boogus that we put up there, because this is pretty good. So they found out that when the boogosphere, which we don't need the audio for this, but okay. So what they found out was, and look, it even has the same things on it. Look, right on the outside, it looks like rifling.
Yeah.
So hold on. Now, when they spun this, they say that the inside, and they could show it on these machines, the inside gains energy, loses weight, and starts to come off of this machine.
Yeah. There's a gravitational anomaly.
As a spinning effect,
and the weight of the object changes as it's spinning.
Yes. Yeah. Now that's the boogosphere, Paul. If you didn't know about it, this is what it is. It's a. I can actually get you a better picture of it real quick before I.
Yeah, it's like somebody's recovered one of these spheres. I think the boogosphere is down in Colombia as well. Somebody's recovered one and is claiming that it's non-human in nature. But some of the details that have come out about this particular sphere with the not embossing. What's the opposite when you have like a markation on it and script? So there's a it looks like a circuit board drawn with a Dremel and then bad soldering, or relatively good soldering. I don't know if that's human in nature or if it's
I got it right here.
Engraving. Thank you, Planet Popstar. Always backing me up, saving the bacon as usual. The engraving on it. in my mind, that you know, like something. What's the Arthur C. Clarke? Any sufficiently advanced technology would appear as magic.
That is true. Now
that doesn't look like magic to me.
Now here's something though. Here's something though for Paul. Is it now? Remember, we're talking about other intelligences or human ancient intelligences.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Is this other technology from ancient humans that has been activated?
They may have used this because they knew that through archaeology that we would be able to correlate this to something thousands of years ago. I mean that happened with this.
Yeah, engravings on it.
Okay.
And they were able to correlate it to engravings 10,000 years ago, but these are from 1952. So that would be a logical thing to do to try to help us learn.
Yeah. I guess also if you're outside of the constraints of, you know, speed and distance and therefore time, then it's feasible that messages could have been left in our ancient past to lead to the current time, and then recovered objects. Maybe there's a correlation there between petroglyphs and geoglyphs.
Sure.
I'm thinking of the Nazca lines, and also in is it the Utah Basin, those indigenous petroglyphs. Some very strange things there. And I think if we recover an object and it's got these things on them,
maybe yes, maybe no.
It's what's the word I'm looking? It's a poser. It's a kind of like, well, you know, it would be nice for the official Colombian government Department of Technology to say, hey, we're standing up as a state and we're saying this is absolutely 100% legitimate. We don't know what it is, and we've figured out that it can do this. But at the moment, it's private property. I don't want to let go of it. There's maybe a monetary interest, and I'll let it out, and then we'll get our team to do the investigation just to add a little bit more teasers. I'm reminded of the Minnesota Iceman, who was a Sasquatch Bigfoot allegedly frozen in a block of ice. And the owner traveled around the country making money off it, but never had it looked at really scientifically by official means. I think the Boogosphere holds potential, Jay, but I'm fence sitting on this one, bro. Heavy. I'm fence sitting hard until
the only way I'm fencing on it is ancient human versus NHI.
Yeah. It was the ultra terrestrial, maybe far distant future humans traveling back in time as a species.
Because it is the type of technology, we just don't know where it came from. So it could be ancient, could be advanced, it could be ours.
Could be. The question is, I don't know. I don't have enough data. If I went to my blacksmith friend and said, "Hey, look, I've got this blueprint. Can you make me one of these?"
I mean, he probably could, but could it do the same things that this is doing by generating its own electricity or its own force on the inside of it?
Yeah,
That's the problem that I run into, is that they come out with these, and this, he is pretty accurate on these, that he says, you know, look, it's right here, you could see it, you know, and it's compelling that this thing
is compelling. It's interesting, and like the guy's got a mobile phone of a handheld device which is measuring presumably heat or gravitational. I don't know.
Yeah, it's heat, I think.
Okay.
It's gaining heat on the inside by spinning, and then it's losing weight off of the actual machine that it's the machine has a weight sensor on the bottom of it.
Right.
It's on the machine, it's spinning, and as it's spinning, it said the guy is saying that it is generating its own electricity on the inside and losing weight and gaining like.
Yeah, I want to see it levitate with no strings, with somebody moving their hands around.
That's what I want to do, but you know what? It's probably not going to happen in this video.
No.
Till next time.
Yeah, till next time when we've done more tests and have more like cash rolling in for it. Yeah, okay. I don't know.
$8 billion later, we still need another, couple, and then we'll get it to work.
I need to see it levitate, then the light open, and a little being step out.
Hey, Batteries Not Included was an awesome movie.
It is an awesome movie. I'm not gonna lie that. What, I mean, is this one new for you, Paul? Have you only just seen this?
No, I'm familiar with the spinning and the gravitational effect. I found that going back several years, and I read just the other day that the Russians are going to be spinning one of their space stations to.
Yeah, I saw that in the news as well.
So there's a mechanical, physiological relationship happening here that involves gravity. So it's another baby step.
Yeah. The International Space Station is going to be retired, and the Russians have put forward a patent or blueprint for a new International Space Station that is spinning in space to rotational energy, similar to the spaceship in 2001, A Space Odyssey, with that opening sequence with the Blue Danube music playing, where it's like a cartwheel spinning in space, which throws everything outwards, generating its own gravitational field. So that's quite exciting to see, and hopefully that's going to happen. Hopefully they'll make it.
Me too.
Another possibility, and you'll see this in my my links that it's the Harvard UFO link that I had suggested to Dr. Lowe that they do some computer modeling by having different shells on the craft, and they play with different gravitational charges, plus and minus, on those shells, and then they measure the effect on the occupants.
Isn't that like isn't that almost like the clamshell clam stat that they're trying to do, the clamshell experiment for oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to look it up now.
Just solar.
Yeah, it's a clamshell, but it's called it's a foldable clamshell they want to make on the moon that can like come up and flex and has these like, it's a clamshell, but it can like come up and it expands out, and it has like solar on the outside. It gets all the energy. Then if it goes around and say like, oh, it doesn't collect, it can clamshell. It goes right back down.
Well, that makes sense. What I'm suggesting is not mine. I've pulled it off of other people's work, but it's using different polarities with gravitational forces, and then to do your computer modeling and play with increasing, decreasing, and see the effect of the occupants inside the actual craft.
Paul, it sounds like, being in this field, recently we've had a discussion on psionics, or like psychic or consciousness interaction with these craft, be it from a sitting down pilot point of view or interacting with a conscious machine. You've already mentioned biological or biosynthetic robot life forms, humanoids, humans potentially as well. What is the role? what is the role of the mind and consciousness and soul on these technologies? You know, if you take, you know, I know the data may be thin on the ground, like not, you know, physical data, but do you feel that this is an element? You know, do you have any thoughts on this at all? Do you have any?
I do, and fortunately, when I was first introduced to this back in '73, that was part of the introduction.
Wow.
And the way that I have embraced it is that we are all, every molecule of our bodies operates at a vibrational frequency. Every molecule in the ethers, the air that we cannot see, is operating at a vibrational frequency, and so we're all connected, which makes the concept of war totally crazy. Why would we want to be hurting ourselves if we're all connected? But that, you know, we'll save that one for later. And so, yeah, the people that have developed their higher levels of awareness, in other words, being consciously conscious of consciousness, that's where the magic happens, and that's where the connection happens. And so, if the mechanics are created and manufactured and operate at those higher level frequencies also, then yeah, if you're operating at those frequencies, you can connect with that. Now, how you would actually do that, I mean, that's, you know, lifetimes away from me.
What we'd do to like get you, Paul, to kind of go and take some photos of inside a retrieved craft for us. We desperately, you know, take your favorite piece of equipment and go and snap some inside imagery for us. That's kind of what we would like to see. Jay?
Yeah, definitely.
Jay, can you hear us? Your screen.
I will be back.
Okay, no worries.
The book that has connected the subject of the higher levels of consciousness with the UFOs.
Undaunted. Okay.
And this is brand new. And this for the people that see this man and start rolling their eyes and yelling hoax and fraud, that's part of the pre-programming that
immediately discounting something as being bunk or immediately discounting it, you know, like that.
But this does a really good job of connecting the understanding the ancient wisdom consciousness teachings with the space people.
Yeah. I in this arena, and I know Jay and me have discussions about this kind of and I'm just going to, you know, like the spiritual consciousness, evolution, resonant harmonic frequency, and I'm using all the right buzzwords. It's potential that people can get exploited in some way by the, you know, like these things. But I think kind of like if we stay level-headed and look objectively, just to there does seem to be a interconnectedness, like you say, of all us as a species in our biosphere on the planet, as if we're part of one, almost like we've got a Wi-Fi adapter, you know, in our heads, like antenna, and gradually it's being switched on, the firmware and our genetics, and we're beginning to have this new kind of like understanding that maybe these craft, these you know, certainly the evidence, I've not taken part in any CE5 contact, sending thoughts or waves out into the ether to kind of have UFOs turn up. I've not done that actively, but I've spoken to people and I've encountered people, and I've seen secondhand testimony of people having very, very good connections with these things. So yeah, I don't know. Jay's got some. Jay has a storm coming in at the moment. I think we're beginning to get to the end of the show. I'm not sure, because obviously 2 hours or so is thereabouts. Jay?
All right, we're gonna we have a couple more, and then we're gonna call it for now because my camera is
I feel like we should do a part 2 review. Another.
Yeah, I wanted to show a couple videos here. There was one that was given to me by a friend of mine that I don't know why it's not low. Let's see if it works this time. Nope, I'll be right back. That's the one that doesn't work.
Okay, I'm not sure what's happening. There's a bit of technical difficulties for those.
Yep, technical, but at least I know which one doesn't work now, so I'll be right back.
Okay, we've split it out. Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to say, Paul, while we're talking here, is some of your work with combat veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder and working for advocacy and understanding for other members of the population. I'm definitely in that camp with you on that. And if there's anything I can do to assist you in that endeavor, please let me know. Okay.
Well, thank you. I'll send you some thoughts.
Please do. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've let's see here. We've had a couple things come out. Well, if Paul, if you have to head out or anything, that's fine.
I'm all right.
Okay. We're going to now. We did have a little bit more come out. We had
34 leaders in the government, military, and intelligence communities are featured in a new documentary on unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, also known as UFOs. This includes Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
We've had repeated instances of something operating in the airspace over restricted nuclear facilities, and it's not ours.
They have both deactivated and activated nuclear weapons with both the United States and Russia.
These are otherworldly things that are performing maneuvers that haven't been seen.
The UAP activity surrounding nuclear weapons is not a historic issue. It's an ongoing issue.
The film The Age of Disclosure dives into the existence of non-human intelligent life, what these leaders know, and the stakes for the future of humanity. It's now streaming on Amazon Prime. Let's bring in Dan Farah, the director and producer of The Age of Disclosure. Dan.
But that's pretty much what I wanted to put on that one, is The Age of Disclosure. Now, with them coming out with more and more videos, it's going to be more and more people that are more, what I want to say, generalized around these terms, because they say they changed UFO because they wanted to make it a more scientifically acceptable term, so they labeled it UAP, which in my eyes, it doesn't really matter. Unknown is still unknown. No matter if you put a bunch of P's and S's in front or not.
Yeah. It feels a little bit even more ambiguous. Like UFO is quite a solid descriptor, and UAPs like unidentified anomalous phenomena. Like, okay, well, why are we introducing that term into the mix? It feels more ambiguous. On my kind of feelings, I've heard there's been a lot of discussion about this film online from the community. I've heard various different accounts from different people of how they feel that this could be, leading up to another Blue Book type thing, or this or that, and the dissection kind of goes on. My feeling is if it brings the conversation to the saloon bar, if it brings the conversation to the bus stop, if people can connect and talk about things, then I'm all for it. And I think, for you guys who are more senior than me with the study of this topic, I found my takeaway was quite a lot. So yeah, have you seen that one at all, Paul? Age of Disclosure? Have you seen that? What was how did you feel about the documentary?
I know some of the people involved, and I think it was a good start. The most important message was Admiral Gallaudet who said that we're not alone in the universe. I think that keeping it that simple and moving from there, I think that the focusing on the non-human business and not mentioning human at all, I think that was intentional, and I think it's part of the keep them confused part of it. I really believe that had something going on in the background.
You know what, Paul? I love it that we are so connected in this podcast. So ding, 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 ding. There's another one that we have coming up in 2026. We have Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet coming to us to talk about his new book that's coming out. Leadership for Turbulent Times. He'll be out. He'll be coming here on the Galactic Family Podcast. I'm getting a hold of him in the new year, and we're going to schedule with him to start to come on the podcast.
Dates to be confirmed, but
dates to be confirmed, but
communications are happening.
Yes, communication's happening, and it's flowing like water. And we're getting so many great guests out here, like Paul. Paul, we've got you on here. You're going to come on again. 100%.
Yeah. Really enjoyed talking to you.
This is only an end of the year review, so it's like end of the year. Then we're going to start doing guests again, and I would love to have you on, as a guest.
Come back on, and then like a full interview, and find out, what's going on in your world, and the information you've gleaned over the years on this topic seems, immeasurable to somebody like me who's relatively new to this. The book suggestions you've given so far. One, I can tell as somebody who occasionally reads, maybe not as much as I should, but I can tell those books are well loved. You've got the details in them, and it's great to see these original pieces, first edition, second editions coming forwards. It's really good. Thank you. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Right. What's this? Okay.
This is an orb that I videotaped above my house.
This is above your house?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's a strange effect on it, isn't it?
It's some kind of, I say living plasma, but I can't really, attest to that because you have to get tests. And
you're holding that camera real steady as well.
It's on a tripod.
What camera?
This was, let me get it here.
Digital sensor on a smartphone, maybe? I'm not sure.
No, this was on a, hold on, let me get it here. I can show you the box. There it is. This was on a 6K Ultra HD camera.
Oh, okay. There we go. Camcorder. Right. I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay.
Right there.
Yeah, it's very clear image you got there. It's. I don't know what exactly it is, and that's the problem. When what was the other day the taxonomy of the phenomena? So getting the taxonomy. I just got to say, freaking orbs for the live chat crew there. That's TM by Random Content / Coffee Bun. That's trademarked.
Orbs are always for the win. And we're gonna play. We got to get Galactic Bingo going. So when we do a show, we have words on a bingo chart, and
I'm going for that. I'm going for that totally.
So here's a book for you, sir, for you to grab. It is Victims Burned by UFOs, Fate magazine. Hold on.
Yeah, there we go.
Fate magazine, and it's true stories of the strange and the unknown. October 1968. This one has the original story of. Let me see here where it is, and the pictures actually of when he got burned by the UFO in his chest, and he had those marks.
Yeah, I think kind of if these things have a power source and you approach them, there could be some form of radiation of some description. It may be unintentional damage to humans.
Yes.
I think in some cases there is intentional invasive things happening, but I think also in the most part, if they were being intentionally invasive, they've certainly, with this technology could have taken the planet over multiple times.
There you go. And then
So
in this case, and this is a relatively new book. It's an analysis, a technical analysis of the Adamski photos.
Oh wow!
And,
okay.
I mean, excellent. Thank you. And Adamski said that he got too close to the flange of one of these ships, and his arm got pulled up, and he got hurt. But like you said, it was an accident.
Yeah, I think if it was a War of the Worlds scenario, it would have happened in 1522, not 2025, because we've moved on with the tech. So it'd been easier to assimilate back then and win than it would have done now. So there's something else going on here, which again going on about that Hollywood narrative, the Hollywood script narrative of War of the Worlds and destruction and fighting. I'm always a Dr. Carol Rosin was interviewed by Stephen Greer, but she worked for Fairchild Industries as a rocketry engineer, and her mentor was Werner von Braun, a German scientist who was repatriated after the Second World War into NASA to kickstart the American administration's rocketry program. That interview, I recommend Dr. Carol Rosin, interviewed by Dr. Stephen Greer. I definitely recommend, because she lays down some information that the control paradigm, meteors and comets don't work. They may do a Project Blue Beam type of situation where holographic or So it could be the first wave is not real. The second wave could be.
Yeah, and I got this being shown here.
Yeah, Tommy, what do you think? I'm all over this. I watched The Age of Disclosure, which is a Prime Video documentary, I think probably setting up this Spielberg movie, which I think looks fantastic, by the way, for a lot of reasons. But I'm all in on this. My husband hates it. He doesn't like the thought of there being something else out there. But if you watch The Age of Disclosure and you watch some of these whistleblowers.
Oh, it paused.
Yeah, you see the whistleblowers that are out there. Hold on, let me see if I can get it come up.
Statement about her husband's.
I was thinking about this. Like, if we're going to take a Spielberg alien movie and say, hey, that's the truth, maybe we look at some of the ones he's already done. I mean, E.T. is a wonderful movie. Super 8 was a great movie. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Batteries Not Included, I think, is an amazing movie. He conceptualized that one. But the one that really stands out is Cowboys and Aliens. Like, if that becomes real, then.
No, I want Batteries Not Included to become real, because it is real. If you think of a Van Neumann probe, self-replicating probe that goes out, uses the resources in its environment to build more of itself, that is Batteries Not Included.
I would have to vote for Moving Day.
Oh, that's
on his amazing stories.
Mm.
The two high school kids, boy and girl, are in love, and the boy finds out he has to move, but on Moving Day, his parents tell him, "We're aliens."
Yep.
And then he meets the girl on the ship. Her parents were aliens too.
And the last thing we're going to get in here too is the Disclosure Day, which is here we go. Steven Spielberg came out with this artistry here that it creeped people out when they first saw it. Like,
it feels like what's the term, stenography, where you've got like an image, but it's got multiple
images in it.
well, the symbology tells a narrative in itself through the imagery that's superimposed within it. If that makes sense. Is it stenography? Is it stenography? Like it?
Yeah. Then we have this one that came out. You see a girl just looking, and then this one's the next one that came out, the third one.
Yeah, for those who've seen the trailer, the sequence with the deer and stags with antlers, that sequence feels a little bit disturbing. But then, is this classic Hollywood to lift us up and then break us down and then lift us up again and then like going back all the way back to the beginning of this today's episode? I think Paul is 100% correct in that we've got to have a little hope here. We've got to have we don't want constant destruction.
But coming out with that as the first wallpaper for your movie, it's kind of dark.
Yeah, the bird motif, and somebody mentioned the aviary the other day as a key word. I don't know does anybody know what the aviary means? Is that a collective of individuals in the UAP sequence? Somebody mentioned the aviary as some kind of thing.
I'll have to look at that.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure, but was it a blue jay? Was it a cardinal? Was it? Yeah, I think when I own a cat, Paul. He's called Mr. Meowgie, and he's my little NHI. He's my non-human intelligent. He obviously wants to control me, and I don't know if the human cat relationship. So to see the trailer on this upcoming film next year of multiple animals congregating to pass on information or something is it's a cardinal. Oh, okay, it's a cardinal.
And her being on TV like this, and like would that actually happen though, Paul? Would they? Do you believe that they would take over if they could psychically do it? This girl's on the news. Would they do it to get information out there if nobody was listening? They would just, okay, well, they're on the news anyway, and they watch it. Boom.
Well, I think we're back to the question of what is going to create, go into your academic teacher mode. What is going to get through to the students? Confusion with some facts weaved in, or something that's going to connect at the logical, hopeful level. So I think in what we know about teaching, that's our answer.
Okay.
And for people that are listening, please take a look at my post with the testimony that I gave, and down at the bottom you're going to see the Spielberg and a very short little thing that I'm putting out on LinkedIn to producers that maybe Stephen would still like to add another little postscript to it. I mean, anything is possible at his level. And as far as other people, let's get creative. Let's get some different messages flowing out there.
So
I have that right here. If this is what you were.
Okay, Paul, can people connect with you on LinkedIn? Can they come?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Please.
that's great.
This is the one you were talking about, right, Paul?
Yeah, and then down at the bottom there's some links.
Hold on, let me pull off that banner real quick.
Academic UFOs, UFO Disclosure Committee, and human ET versus non-human. There's links off that to go and have a look. And
did you get a chance to look at that Barney Miller clip?
No, not yet. I haven't.
They did a really good job. Barney Miller was a police drama that was it won all kinds of awards from the police department, and they hit issues on each one. And one of the issues that they hit was one of the police officers, Wojo, comes in and he's late, and because he saw a UFO, and it goes on from there. It's very well done.
So this is your report that you sent up, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And I've got a couple key people that I'm communicating with through that, but most of the people, they get and I'm talking about the legislators, they get an avalanche of stuff, and their people comb through it the best they can. I'm just glad that I've got a handful of people that are interested.
Oh, you'll always have people interested here. We can pull people in from anywhere because there's scientists, there's a lot of people interested. We just need to get the right information out there, not the cloudy, this could be, demons, or this could be, they're going to steal your child at night and take him to another realm, or, you don't want to do that. You want to stick with what you know, stick with the science, and then build upon it. Like, okay, we know this is real. We can build on it. We can see it. But maybe we're not able to see past this point because it's not, we need to work on our sensors, our optical, our, other means to collect information first.
So if there's any government folks or other people that are interested in what they've been hearing today, take a look at what I posted, and as time permits, I'm glad to do what I can do to help.
Cool. Like this just came out. I had to bring it up real quick. Scientists are growing computers from human brain cells.
There we go.
That is a biological AI system.
Yep. And this is just the first step. We're in kindergarten.
Yeah, just very quickly. The cardinal motif on Day of Disclosure, and I mentioned the Avery. The Avery refers to the GATE program.
Oh, yeah.
Which was the Gifted and Talented Education Program, potentially screening for extrasensory, perceptive, and psychic kids.
That just screams to me why this is in the preview as well.
Is that why the image of the cardinal bird is front and center, because it's to do with the Avery? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we're drawing a few connections there, too many. But I think Just I know we're going to be wrapping up soon, Jay.
Yeah, about 4 minutes.
Okay, I'd like just to reiterate, to follow Paul on, go and look at Paul's work on LinkedIn. It's some amazing stuff, and it's interesting, the documentation that he's pooling together, and his network as well is interesting. I know, he's an advocate for transparency and getting the truth out there.
And also, we need to also start looking at the ancient history. Like here, this is an ancient doll that looks like a spaceman.
Scythian spaceman in the Altai Mountains. The Scythians, as far as I'm aware, were just nomadic horse people.
But you got this though, and I'm like,
and then in the middle of that, they're not much known about them, but nomadic horse people, and then an idol of a spaceman, and then what's going on here?
You've got people worshiping a cylinder-like craft.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I guess their hands are up or something like this. But it's interesting how things are done. Here we go. This is the last video I actually have. So
okay.
And this is it's 14 minutes, but we won't do all 14.
This has a lot of people going wild. The UFO tracker recorded thousands of USOs, or unidentified submerged objects. So not in the sky.
I don't like it.
But underwater. This was all over the U.S. coast. For this conversation, we want to bring in Ron James, the Mutual UFO Network's media relations director, and also the filmmaker behind the UFO documentary Accidental Truth. We've had you on the show before. You're a friend of the show. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning.
What do you mean? What is a USO for people at home who are freaked out as I am?
Well, USO is a phrase that stands for unidentified submersible object, and basically what it is covering is objects that are under the water.
So that's what we're covering. Objects that are under the water. All right.
I think transmedium craft going from space to air to submersible water in a blink of an eye. We're now beginning to see with the videos taken from the Nimitz class warship, the battle group off the Californian coast, about 80 nautical miles due west, that and where the various naval air pilots, air servicemen picked up details of the Tic Tac and things like this. They're seeing objects with impunity making incredible maneuvers, incredible speed turns, but also going from different mediums, from air to water and back again and up into space, 60,000 feet in 3 seconds. It's like, wow. And what's interesting for me is to paraphrase David Fravor, the pilot who was at the congressional hearings as well, was that I think he was asked if he wanted this technology, would he? And he was like, "Yeah, I want to fly these things. If I could get inside them." So yeah, I hope that we understand these things and we can go out in peace.
And I'll give you another book as well, Paul. And we actually know the person. He's a real good friend of ours. You got to read Engineering Infinity.
Engineering Infinity by Gene Sticko. Yeah, great book.
Literally, like, you will have on one side, you will have the Russian document. On this side, you'll have the Russian document that his actual father-in-law had in the research of Russia. And over here, he translates it. And it's all translated out with all the research notes and everything from, everything. All of his father-in-law's research is in here, every page.
This is what I think. I think if the U.S. administration, as a world leader, can lead the way on of releasing the information, coming to terms to tell their populations with understanding that we're not alone in the universe and it's okay. And then the UK government, by default, has to come out with that special agreement and say, yeah, the Americans are our cousins across the pond are correct. And then if the Russians come out with their information, France, Spain, Europe, South America, Africa, Australia, China, if we could all come out and be like, yeah, okay, so surely that would be a new paradigm.
And I think what's really important with that thought is to do it with the understanding of exploration and discovery, not fear, because I follow this on the investment side. There are plans to make trillions and trillions of dollars off the fear aspect of this, of creating weaponry that supposedly will defend us.
Yeah. And interestingly, the great granddaughter of Dwight D. President Eisenhower coming on the show. I think it was Eisenhower who said, to use the phrase industrial military complex. Now there's like a industrial military pharmacological entertainment infotainment complex. I think we can take this multi-headed beast and it wants to feed off negativity. So yeah, I echo that sentiment 100%, Paul. I echo like we should be doing it in a spirit of exploration and harmony with ourselves and our biosphere.
Now, this I wanted to bring up at the end of the podcast because it was definitely need to be brought up. So the Galactic Family Podcast is also going to be getting UFO crash material. Supposed UFO crash material that will be given to us and transported to us through a different means. And it's a neat piece of metal that
unknown.
is very weird and unknown. Porous structures, but here's the weirdest part.
Okay, so we've got like a
skin,
some kind of skin. It could be silicon, as yet untested, and I think the individual who won't be named for now is going to pass it to somebody that we know to get some scientific laboratory testing on it, so we can find out what it is.
Yep.
So we're running some investigations in the background to the veracity of this claim. And we'll be releasing the information, I guess, Jay, as and when that information becomes available to us through this channel.
Yeah, we're like I told him, we wouldn't release his name on who has it, but we are going to say that we are going to be in possession of this to do the scientific material analysis on it the correct way.
Could be innocuous, could be something novel.
It could be normal. And you know what? And if it is, we're still going to put out the results because people need to know about it. If you find this piece of equipment again in the honeycomb, it's looks like it's coating. Yep.
Yeah, there's some patterning going on there. As yet unknown. So as soon as Jason at the Galactic Family has got hold of some samples, then testing begins to find out the veracity of what it is and what it isn't.
That's what we're going to be doing here. That's what I love to do, Paul. Okay. I love to dive into something as big as I can and be like, is this true or is this false? And can I prove it?
You're very much feet on the ground, nuts and bolts kind of investigation using tried and tested means.
Yes. I actually got injured, Paul, when I was on a investigation with MUFON. I was in a investigation case with Travis Taylor and Nick Pope. And I got radiated on my arms only over a UAP landing site that was less than 6 to 8 hours old.
Wow.
I was there within that time frame and got injured. Did I get anything from it? No, because the science isn't there yet. We don't know what it is. We don't know what causes it. And this is what's going to keep happening. We send these investigators out there, go to investigate this. What am I investigating? What are you going into? You're getting into radiation. You're getting into heavy metals. You're getting into possible amoebas that are like flesh-eating amoebas that could be in the area. You don't want any of that.
Yeah, I'm more of a second or third line investigator. You get out there, Jay. I'll if.
Listen. I'm gonna say the same thing in my other favorite movie that I like, which is the funniest movie ever, Evolution.
Go on.
Take the leg.
Okay.
Take the leg. Take it. You can take the whole leg. Okay, but anyway, so all jokes aside, we've got this will be our last
show
thing I say here, and then we'll wrap it up here. This is a glimpse of what's coming next in the Galactic Family Podcast world for the next year. Okay, Barbara Lamb, licensed psychotherapist and one of the world's leading researchers on UFO contact and experiencers. I'm in contact with her to get her on the Galactic Family. Well, a friend of mine is in contact with her. We are in contact to get a date set for her to come on. Dennis reached out to me after I reached out to him a couple months ago, said, he's a little busy now. It's Christmas. After January, we're locking down a date. Laura Eisenhower, great-granddaughter of the president, of the former president of the United States. Like, that's going to be a great one. Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet wants to come on to share his new book that's coming out. And I want to press him about some USO activities. Joseph P. Firmage, visionary technologist, scientist, pioneer of the early era internet, and founder of Academy and Science of Arts. Academy of Science and Arts. Yes, we've got him coming on. Then we've got Chris Beckingham, which is lead architect. He will be on actually on Monday. I believe that's Monday, right? Monday at 3, I believe. Monday at 3 p.m. And he's the lead architect at Coherence Dynamic Laboratory and Systems. Systems thinker, exploring the intersection of consciousness, AI, and human coherence. So, also in the last person will be, which I've been in communication with, but it's off and on. She's doing a lot. Kai Dickens for the telepathy tapes, to get her on here to talk about the savant children and them just knowing things that there's no way possible this child could know this, but he does. That's our upcoming guest list for the podcast, including, Paul. We're getting him on next too.
Yeah. Just on that point there, with like Paul today, we've looked at various different topics, and I feel like to have a show, but based on like your work and what you've discovered. If you please come back on the show in a future date, we'd love to have you here to really get to grips with you as an individual, where you've come from, your interest in it, your own experiences directly, what you've discovered through your studious inquiry into the topic. And if we could do an hour and a half with you, like just one-on-one without. So today was like an end of year review where we are now. We've been looking at videos and the topics. So it'd be great if you could come back on the show. And just for the listeners out there, the name's on screen, Paul Ruez. Go and follow him on LinkedIn. Very interesting stuff that's coming out with his network. I'd heartily recommend giving Paul a follow and connecting in some way. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Yeah,
and I've really enjoyed this kind of roundtable, quasi symposium, because a lot of good information.
Yeah, we're like we like that kind of campfire aspect. Everyone has a view and angle, and like we can do something with just yourself talking for an hour and a half monologue, but we like to jump in and throw in curveballs and stuff, man. We love all that.
Yeah. So let me wish everyone in the Galactic family Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And hopefully you guys had a Merry Christmas. And we will see you again in the new year for Chris Beckingham. And should be a good one. Like I said, it'll be on the, what was that, the 3rd?
Monday the 3rd?
Yep. Monday the 3rd at 3 o'clock.
3 p.m. EST. That's
that's not Monday. Is that Monday? Or is it the 5th?
Hold on.
Saturday? Is it Saturday or Friday? Friday.
Friday the 5th? Oh, no, hold on. My bad. January. Okay, so you got Friday. Is it on a Monday or Monday the 5th? Monday the 5th.
There you go. I'm just going to get on my Monday the 5th.
At 3 p.m. EST, which is 8 p.m. GMT UK as well. So that's been great. A happy New Year, Paul. Have a good one. All the best in 2026. I hope kind of your discoveries continue, and the torch that you've lit for others is going to kind of keep burning strong, and get out there and do it, man. I think that's my takeaway.
We'll keep carrying the torch. And again, thanks to Admiral Gallaudet for reminding the people that we're not alone in the universe. And just remember that the human pattern is universal, and science is proving that out. So think people.
Yeah, exactly. And Steve or Stella, I've already interviewed the Raelian movement. I've had about probably I had a 7-part or maybe a 5-part podcast with a couple of them on, Stella. I wouldn't mind at all having an interview with the Raelian chief. And I can tell you right now, anyway, because I'm I got the book too.
Space aliens. Yeah.
And it's good read. It really is. And if you think about it, like people, and it needs to, but we need to base more in science, right? So that's where we're going with this show is more in science, more technology out there, less BS.
There's a crossover lapping point between nuts and bolts and spiritualism. If you drift too far in either direction, you lose the overall picture of the tapestry. And I think there's kind of like consciousness research, extrasensory perception research, the telepathy tapes is part of the story, but we can't go down any one individual route too far because you miss the greater picture. And I think the message is to quote Paul, is we are not alone.
Boom. All right. His mailing address. Okay. I will definitely get to that, Stella. I'll send him an email. He probably knows Jerry Barker. He's the one that I had on that I love. He's a great guy, down there in the Northeast, I believe he does, or Northwest, Northeastern. But yeah, I'll definitely get a hold of them, Stella, and we'll see what happens. Next year is full of surprises, guys. So keep tuned in, stay curious, and just stay open to the possibilities.